Hello, my fellow humans. We are all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves, but there's no obligation to force it to fit. While keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If the message does happen to resonate with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing this with you. So today we are going to be tapping into what do people find intimidating about you. And I have a series of readings that are coming up just very closely together. So then I'm going to switch it up. So not super switch it up, but I am going to be doing an in-depth reading coming probably next week where we're going to be doing some more shadow work readings. So just pointing that out there, but I will be sprinkling that in with these types of readings as well. So I am settled in my new location and I will be here until probably October, but could be later. And so things will be pretty stable moving forward, health-wise and everything being stable and okay. I am good right now. So with that being said, I don't feel like there's any additional announcements that I need to make at this time. If I forgot anything, oh well, it wasn't meant to be said right here, okay? So let's go ahead and hop to it and get your prayer underway, and we will go ahead and get into your reading. And I actually do have a channeled message once we get to that. You know, I'm going to talk about it while this flame is heating up this incense stick. It's just that when I started the candle, the flame was dancing like crazy. And I feel like that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of people who try to dance around you hoping that they won't get burned by your light or by your passion or by your presence. And they end up trying to push back against you, but all that does is it ignites you and it makes you fly even higher. And I feel like people are intimidated by that because they realize that they cannot be a obstacle in your path. So we'll bring that back up when we get to the collective message as well. All right, my beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone who comes onto this reading, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. You know, while it doesn't really necessarily matter what others think of us, sometimes it's hard to really believe that because we grow up in a very societal mindset that says we need to believe what others think of us. We need to be wary of that. You know, that tribe mindset where if we don't belong, then it means that we could potentially be hurt or harmed. And a lot of us do worry about that. And knowing that that doesn't make us wrong. It doesn't make us weird, and it doesn't make us unusual or as if we're, you know, doing something that's naughty. It just makes us human. It's something that's been passed down since the beginning of time. Because when there were original tribes, they had to belong to one another. Because that was the only way for safety. So it's literally in our genetic code for us to worry about what others think of us because we don't want to be ostracized and cast out for fear of not being able to survive. But we don't live in those times now. And for us to choose ourselves, while people might believe that it's selfish, we need to take this selfishness to realize that it truly is an act of selflessness to choose ourselves because it inspires others. And not only does it inspire others, it helps bring us closer to our soul tribe, which is the tribe that's going to support us, love us, accept us, and cheer us on through our journey the same way that we would through theirs. And that's why it's okay for us to no longer worry what people think about us. It's no longer, it's okay for us to no longer be caught up in how we're seen by the people who surround us in this moment, because maybe they're here for a lesson. Maybe they're here for a blessing. Maybe they're here for a moment or a lifetime, but ultimately those that are for us will make it clear that they are for us. And if they aren't, that's okay. They have their own path to go on. Let us accept this with an open heart and an open mind, knowing that we have such a beautiful journey in front of us, even if it is challenging and even if it is overwhelming, but that you are forever bringing us closer to what is in deeply alignment with our hearts. As these words are spoken upon this tribe and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho, Ase. Thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. So I did feel called to using the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle today by Kim Krantz. So we're going to go ahead and get some cards from this. Let's go ahead and shuffle. All right. What do people find intimidating about you? What oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today? What do people find intimidating about you? Okay, thank you. What do people find intimidating about you? Pile 1. What do people find intimidating about you? What oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today, source? What do people find intimidating about you? Pile 1. Wow. Thank you. All right, pile number 2. What do people find intimidating about you? Pile number 2. Thank you. Pile number 3. What do people find intimidating about you? Whoa, flying out. Okay. So we're going to look at the collective energy here on the bottom of the deck. We've got the crow. Okay, so as I was saying, if you're just here for the collective message, then I'm going to repeat a message that I had in the very beginning when I started the prayer, because it came in so strong at the beginning. Even before I started this reading, it was coming in. And then we'll go ahead and get into what this crow energy does mean. But what I was feeling before I started this reading is I was lighting this candle and the flame was going crazy. I mean, it was so tall. It was almost as tall as the candle holder, which is like this much farther out of the camera, right? So you can't see how tall it's an angel wing. And it's actually really tall compared to the tea light candle. And the flame was almost as tall as the candle holder. It was wild. I mean, it was making noises like thump, 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 thump. And it was dancing all around in there, and it was going crazy as I was getting ready for this reading. And what it was is that energy that was coming in is that people are intimidated by you because you burn so bright. You shine so bright. You are very authentic and you are very free to be yourself. And there are people who maybe kind of try to bash into you to stop you from shining so bright or to dim your light because they're worried about themselves, right? Projection onto you. And that every time that they bash into you or they bump into you or they try to create an obstacle, your flame just totally consumes that obstacle, burns it down into nothing, and you rise again without fear, without worry. It's not to say that it doesn't bother you, right? Because I do feel like there are times when it is overwhelming and you're like, can't people just, mind themselves and not worry about what I'm doing? But unfortunately in this life, drama, gossip, and all those things, putting our noses in other people's business while we ourselves might not do it, it is something that has been it's been accepted by society. It's been something that has been pushed by society as well. And so as much as we want them to stop, we can't, I can't promise you tomorrow that people are going to stop, right? That's not something that I can do as a reader. That's not any reader can promise you that at all. And any psychic, they couldn't really promise you that either, because energy is fluctuating consistently. And so I feel like the main thing here is Source reminding you to keep shining bright, because you burning away the bridges of the people who don't matter, or you burning away the bridges of the people who aren't for you, that's the ultimate thing that you can do, which means that the people who are for you are going to be comfortable in the heat of your flames. And with crow energy here, you are someone who's very, very psychic, or very, very intuitive, very tapped in, very capable of following your gut instinct, getting downloads and knowing what those downloads mean, and receiving gems along the way. It's kind of like your own little Easter hunt, right? So you're finding these Easter eggs along the way that are full of little, it could be like extra health, it could be extra life. I'm not really a gamer, but that's how it's coming in right now, like a little game that you would go and collect treasure in, and that's kind of the way that you float about your life. And that's why people are intimidated about you, because it doesn't matter. It's like, even when things get hard for you, even if you're showing that things are hard, you always come back. And when you come back, you're stronger. Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, no matter what, you're always coming back. And you are mysterious. And people really want to know what it is that makes you you. But at the same time, the most intimidating part of that is that you dabble in things that they themselves would never have the courage to open up, right? So that could be like, if you're a psychic, right? Maybe you also read tarot, or you do something like psychic downloads or automatic writing, or you're talking to source, you spend time in meditation with your guides, right? Like, you're opening these doors to higher realms. And there are people around you who are like, wow, I can see that that works for them. And that's intimidating because I'm too scared to go down that road, right? Maybe you're studying the occult, or maybe you're studying the Kabbalah, or maybe you're studying like Wicca and something like that, and how to do spells and how to do, candle magic or something along those lines. Especially with the flame happening here, you're working with candle magic, right? And it might not be something that you have openly discussed with others, but people are aware that you are not someone who follows the everyday norm, and that's something that's intimidating. But you're also free. You're free from those fears that most people are run by, like the fear of being seen. It's like, I'm not afraid of my scars, right? And you stand up, and that is something that's very vulnerable. I'm not afraid to research something new or learn something new. Just because someone somewhere down the line told me that it was wrong, does that really make it wrong? I'm going to find out for myself. So you have a very curious mind, a very open heart, and a very lustrous attitude is what's coming in. Okay. So we're gonna go with that. Yeah, you're very shiny and very, again, just very bright. Like, even though the crow can sometimes be ominous, it can be an ominous sign or an omen, a dark omen. They are also messengers from the spirit realm, and that's really powerful, right? So for some, you're an omen, but for others, you're a messenger. And it just depends on how open the people are when they meet you. So Crow Spirit says you're spiritually strong. Exactly. Creative and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen and knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities, past, present, and the future. Crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. When in balance, the first thing here is you are psychic. I cannot make that up. Psychic. Right? Very psychic. Strong, clear, when out of balance, ungrounded, hypersensitive, and to bring into balance is daily meditation. And I feel like there's some people here who are showing that they're very intimidated by you because they've seen you go from being on one side of the scale that was very unhealthy to you to finding balance, and now going into the other direction where things are truly working out for you. And that's something that's intimidating, because how did you have all the courage to make that change? And that just comes with the territory when you're spiritually growing, evolving, and learning. Self-reflection, which is something that not everybody does. I wish more people did it, but it's just it is not as common as you would think. And sometimes that's unfortunate, and maybe sometimes it's a fortunate thing. It's just realizing that, okay, well, these people just aren't for us as we're moving forward, right? Okay, so for pile number 1, we do have this dice with Pluto on it for you to choose from. We have this moonstone. Pile number 2, we have this dice with Mars on it for you to choose from. Or we have this Tiger's Eye gemstone. Pile number 3, we have this dice with the North Node for you to choose from. Or we have this Shard of Amethyst for you to choose from. So pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the one for you, and I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Pluto on it, or perhaps you felt called to this moonstone, or maybe you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be your reading on what do people find intimidating about you. We're all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so there might be triggering statements that do arise on the videos themselves, but there's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If the messages do resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply grateful to be here sharing it with you. So with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out why do people find you intimidating? What do people find intimidating about you, pile 1? What do people find intimidating about you, pile 1? Source, what would you like to share with us? All right, so we have the 4th house. It's interesting. We have Gemini and Mercury. Honestly, the first thing that's coming up is the way that you can compassionately show up and speak to others. So this sounds weird, right? Because most people, well, why wouldn't you want to be spoken to with love, right? Why wouldn't you want to be spoken to with kindness? The thing is that what is intimidating about you is that no matter how people approach you, whether they approach you sideways or correct or incorrect, you approach them from the same place of compassion. If people are attacking you, you speak truth, but you speak truth from a place of love and nurturing. It's like if someone tells you like, oh, I don't know, like if you're building a business and they're like, oh, you're never going to succeed, you're going to fail, and I'm going to laugh at you when you fail, you're going to come back from this place of like, you know, it's really sad to see that you can only spout negativity towards me when that's something that I've always encouraged you or I believe in you. And yet here you are showing me the truth of where you're at. So I hope that you find balance in your life. And I hope that you find courage to go towards your own dreams while also not trying to tear others down. And you do it in a very calm way. And it does, again, this is just an example, right? This is just an example on the spot. And it blows people away because they're expecting you to react instead of respond. And that's a very strong response because you're grounded in yourself. And you're loving yourself, you're caring about yourself. And I feel like you've done a lot of healing. I feel like the thing that you've healed the most is both the mother wound and the inner child wound here, which means that you have gone from not knowing how to parent and nurture yourself to learning how to parent and nurture yourself and to give yourself validation for the dreams that you're seeking. And this is what people find intimidating about you, because you have freed yourself from the cage that society has put us into, or that has forced us into, and you communicate very clearly that you're not going back in that cage. So it doesn't matter how people show up, you always show up in a very consistent manner, and you're very adaptable. Like, even if people are incredibly cruel or vicious to you, you still show up from a place of love, and that love is so profound that it silences people. And that's why people don't necessarily, like, after you've said something to them about truth, and if you've given them a deeper truth, or if you've shared something of logic and truth with them along the way, in the way that they've acted towards you, that's why they'll never come back and say something like that again. It's not that they necessarily think it, but the thing is that the seed that you planted was enough to crack the illusion that they were holding on to. And now they think twice before coming back, because honestly, if they did, you would completely shatter their identity. And what they've held on to is like, I have the power to control how others show up in the world by what I say. And you're a walking embodiment of no one has power over anybody else unless they give you that power. And it's not something that you can own. It's just something that they feel like they give away because of fear, or because of not knowing any better, or because of toxic patterns that they've gone through. And this is something that it highly intimidates people, because the people who are so used to being in control, you do not give them that control. But you do give them a quick bout of love, and it's a very motherly love. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, non-binary, or whatever you identify with. Okay, none of that matters. What it's showing is that you've learned how to love and nurture all aspects of yourself, and you're accepting, as you move through your journey, all shadow aspects of yourself, and you come with no judgment based on that. You recognize the things that are really exciting, and you recognize the things that maybe are gross and yucky, and it's all a part of you, and it's all a part of the journey. And because of accepting yourself, it gives you freedom to accept others, and that scares others because you see through their masks, and you see through their egos, and you see through their facades. And again, it's cracking those illusions. And while you might crack it in a way that it'll never be repaired, I feel like you're planting very, very beautiful seeds along the way. Seeds that are not yours to water. You're just the seed planter. And that's actually the most beneficial part of the journey, because you've grown strong. And in that strength, you've been free to tell people exactly how you feel. And that could have been something that you struggled with when you were a child, is having a voice, or having the opportunity to share your opinions, or even to set solid boundaries. And that's something that you've grown very accustomed to in later years. And it is serving you well. And that's also something that intimidates people. So what do people find intimidating about you, pile one? Source, what would you like to share with us today? What do people find intimidating about you? Yeah, that they can no longer pull strings and get you to act out of guilt, or get you to react based on what they're saying to you. You just don't have the patience for it anymore. Or more or less, you have the patience. You have patience as a saint, but you are not letting it bother you anymore. That's what it is. What do people find intimidating about you, pile one? Thank you, source. What do people find intimidating about you, pile one? Yeah, they can't manipulate you. They want to, right? There's people who want to. And I feel like, it's hard when we're in a society full of narcissists and manipulators. It's just what society has created, right? Like our trajectory is just going towards that, especially a lot with social media and with people believing that they can get away with whatever they want to online and towards people, and not realizing that bullying, no matter where it's at, is still bullying, right? And that's something that's coming through really strongly. It's like you no longer tolerate being bullied, and you no longer let them use the tactics that they once used freely with you. And that's something that they find intimidating, because what they thought that they had power over, they've lost that power, and it's making them stumble and fall in other areas where they've manipulated other people in their lives. They're losing confidence in their manipulation tactics is what it is. And I feel like it's harsh, because it's like, well, they shouldn't be manipulating in the first place. But I also feel like you understand, Pile One, that manipulators and narcissists and cruel people they're made, they're not born. And realizing that that's their trauma speaking out for them. And sometimes society gets it a little twisted, and we really are in this mindset now lately where it's like, oh no, they were born like that. But really, they went through some really difficult things, and it doesn't give them a right to project it onto you. And I feel like that's something that you've had to really, really face for yourself, is not to sit in blame and judgment of others. And that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like you do this with no judgment. You're not a pushover. That's the last thing that you are. You are not a pushover. You are someone who stands very proud and firm in who you are, and you don't tolerate bullying. But you're also not someone who sees it as an eye for an eye. If you're going to bully me, I'm going to bully you back 10 times greater. You're like, no, if you're going to bully me, I'm going to hit you with the truth, because I don't need anything else. The truth will set you free. And that's just this idea that you have moving forward, whether you feel that way or not. It's just that's a part of who you are now. And that's why people find intimidating about you, because you always bring truth. You're not bothered by the same things that everybody else is bothered by. And I do feel like you're incredibly intuitive. If you didn't catch the collective reading at the beginning, you might find some additional messages in there. But because you chose the moonstone, right? The moonstone talking about connecting with our emotional sides, with the 4th house, Cancerian energy. So you could have Cancer energy, Cancer moon. You could have Cancer in the 3rd house, Cancer in the 7th house is coming through, and Cancer in the 12th house is coming through as well. You could have Mercury, Venus, or Uranus in Cancers coming through. Okay, so there's this energy where it's like you've learned how to nurture the Cancerian part, the Cancerian energy within you, which has become it's a powerhouse for you. And if you don't have Cancer energy in your chart, that's okay. It's just showing that you've healed from those generational wounds, and they no longer dictate how you show up in your day-to-day life. And that's what people find intimidating about you, Pile One. Yeah, you're very sturdy and stable, and you're slow moving. Like, you're not trying to rush to some finish line either. Most people are trying to rush to some finish line. They're trying to get to some end result as quickly as they can. And when they meet you, you're just very easygoing. Like, you're ready for a stroll in the garden when everyone else is trying to run in the rat race or in a marathon. And you're like, why don't we all just take a quick breath and, sit on this bench in the park and just hang out? And it's like, if people sit down and talk to you for a few minutes, they feel that calm overcome them from you. But then immediately when they leave, they're like, that's unnatural. Like, I have to go back to this quick pace, this quick movement. And for you, it's like everything is just really slowed down. I feel like you have a lot of time. That's not necessarily like free time, but you just have a lot of time. You make time for the things that matter. And that's another thing that people find intimidating about you, because you're actually taking steps towards the things that matter, when they're too busy saying, I don't have the time, I don't have the space, I can't do this, I can't do that, because everything else is far more important. And that's just not who you are. Yeah, you've made the choice for yourself. Let's see. Yeah. It's interesting. You actually elicit a lot of anxiety in people when they meet you, But it's like a conundrum, because you elicit anxiety because you see through their masks and you see through the ego. But at the same time, your aura is so encompassing that it brings them peace in that moment. And so it's almost as if they've been sedated when they meet you. So it's not like you're doing it on purpose. It's just that's your energy. It's like you meet people, they can't help but be drawn to you. And then the minute they like enter into your auric atmosphere, they become sedated and mesmerized and almost hypnotized in a way. And your soul is going to work on them. So your soul's over here like picking things apart, and you're seeing with your eyes like whether they're being real or not. Like you're seeing a deeper truth about them, and again sharing deeper truths, sharing messages with them. And they're in this land of stupor while it's happening, but they're not enjoying it. They're still enjoying it because it's a beautiful energy to be in. And then the minute that you leave, or the minute that they leave, it all comes crashing in, the reality of what just happened. Pile one saw my most vulnerable side, and now they have the power to break my life. What am I going to do? What do I do moving forward? Like, how am I going to overcome this? And for you, it's not about that. Like, you're just living your life. You're just being you. But that's something that intimidates people. It brings up a lot of anxiety for them too. I feel like there's a lot of sleepless nights for people. Like after they've met you, there's a lot of insomnia moments. And again, it's nothing you did. It's the worry and the fears that are starting to race through their head as their ego reveals to them that we're in the hot seat now. When their spirit's trying to tell them like this had to happen for our next stint of healing. Like this is a good thing. And you're just busy over here doing your thing. Your third eye is a healing energy. Like your third eye is very healing. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if you identify as being a healer or being a starseed, but your intuition is actually what helps to heal people. Like you give messages when you meet them. You give deeper insight, you give deeper truths to people when you meet them. But all of these things are incredibly intimidating to the people who weren't prepared or who were resisting their own healing journey, right? It's like you help them see that, the one thing with the Lover card, this is such an interesting energy that I feel like sometimes we miss with the Lovers, especially in the Tarot Marseille, because you have this man in the center of the card and he's very unsure of which way he wants to go. You have this beautiful woman to the right and you have this older woman to the left. There's a couple of things that comes out with the Lovers card here, right? It also depicts healing the mother wound because, he's looking back towards this older woman who can be representing the mother, right? And now trying to make a decision to move forward into his lover's arms, right? Letting go of the umbilical cord, if you will. But the Lover's card also talks about moving away from avarice and coming into honor and integrity, right? So lust and avarice and moving into a place of honor and integrity. And so there's this energy where it's like you're helping people see that maybe the things they're chasing after don't matter. And that's what they built their identity on. So if you talk a lot about how money is not a big thing, like you need to build up your spiritual well-being and your spiritual health, and people hear your messages very clearly. And they resonate with a deeper part of them. But then what's left, the intimidation part, is the fear that arises when the ego's realizing that it's losing its grip. And so it holds on tighter, right? You're helping people move away, but you leave them in an uncertain place. That's the seed planting that I was feeling at the beginning. It's you're leaving a seed in their heart, and it's not yours to water, but the seed itself is incredibly potent and powerful. And once it gets watered, which is what Source decides to do through their own journey, right? Then it becomes an incredibly powerful healing thing. But your aura naturally does this. Your space naturally does this. And so that's why I'm saying like your intuition is incredibly healing, but it's not necessarily healing that you get to see. Sometimes you do, but I feel like mostly you you realize that you're here to give this love and this light in this way, and you do that and you own that. But a lot of people maybe never talk to you again, or when they do talk to you, it's like kind of rough and rude and raw. And you're like, what the heck? Like, why can't people just approach me like I approach them? Like, why can't we just be normal people here having a normal conversation after we've met? And it's because they're in that place of being open and vulnerable, and that's scary. They've lost the battle of concealment with you. And that's what people find intimidating about you. Yeah, South Node energy coming out here, destined to release. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if you have an incredibly potent North Node energy, you know, and that's just for your chart. So that's going to vary. It could be in any zodiac, but it could just be a very potent North Node energy, which could also resonate with, you have a lot of similar placements in your chart, like, again, Cancerian placements. So that would be a Cancer North Node and a Capricorn South Node, or vice versa, right? But you could have Capricorn North Node and also have just tons of Capricorn placements in your chart. You could have an Aquarius North Node and have a ton of Aquarius placements in your chart. Like, they all kind of mirror one another. And I feel like the thing is here is that you help people to release old belief systems, and that's what's so intimidating about you. It's not that you're not needed, you are. But when someone comes in and shakes the very core of our being and says that what we believe to be true was actually an illusion, we lose ourselves, right? Like, you don't lose yourself, but the rest of the world loses themselves. And you go on being yourself because you've already gone through that transformation yourself, and you seem completely unfazed by it, which at one point you were fazed by it, but now you're not, because you've gone through that process, that metamorphosis. And everyone else is left like, holy crap, I was not ready for this. Yeah, Sagittarius. They're also intimidated by how optimistic you are. Like, if people have seen you go through some really difficult times, like, you still always come back very happy, very free. You're very inquisitive about the world around you. You also learn a lot about the things that are going on around you. And I feel like that's something that people find intimidating because you never give up. You know, a Sagittarius never gives up. I call Sagittarians the life of the zodiac. They're the life of the party. They love to party. And they just like to do different things, and they never want to be tied down. They're very free. And I feel like that's something too. It's like people expect you to, if you've transformed their lives, there's this expectation that you're going to stick around for them the way that they want you to, but that's just not who you are. You're very free spirit, and that scares them too, because now they've lost access to that and they don't know how to bring it back. But that was never what was intended in the first place, because you're the seed planner. Broken dreams. Only you can accept or reject your dreams. Yeah. So that's the thing. You're pursuing your dreams, and you're mirroring back onto a lot of people how they have not. They have not pursued their dreams. They have not done what they wanted to do. And that's intimidating, because you're living your dream. And to live one's dream is to be free. That's truly to live. And it's not to say that your dream is perfect, or that it's manifested completely, or that, you know, you're at the pinnacle of it. What it's to say is that you're taking steps to getting there, and that really does show with everyone else, and it makes them fearful of that. Right? Yeah, wisdom in play. Our intuition knows more than we do. Your intuition is something that intimidates people. You know things that shouldn't be known. And I feel like people lie to your face a lot, and you catch them in the lie. And there's times when I feel like you'd fought back against those lies. Like, why are you lying to me when you know that I already know what's going on? And then they would come up with some other excuse, or they would try to sweep it under the rug, or they would do this. And finally, I feel like you've gotten to this point where it's like, I realize you're lying, but I'm not going to say anything because it's just a waste of breath. Right? And so you don't, but you know, and the way you look at them, they know that you know. There's no hiding that you know. They know that you know, pile one. And there's no denying that. Okay, wow, this is too many here. Yeah, I'm going to put this back. Too many cards came out here. If they want to come back out, they will. All right, what do people find intimidating about you, pile one? Okay, so again, 3 cards. 3 cards popped out. I put 3 cards back. Another 3 cards came out, so we're just going to keep them. I didn't want to take that many from this deck, but whatever. We're just going to get it. Prostitute on the bottom accentuates the challenges of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. That's the thing. Like, you're not giving over your internal power. Like, again, we were talking about that with the manipulation. These are people who took your power from you, or people who've taken power from others, and they've lorded that over them. And that's not what you do. You keep staying in that state of self-empowerment, and you know how to survive without giving away yourself, without putting yourself on the back burner. The Shadows places material consideration and security above self-empowerment. So that's exactly what you're basically showing others. Like, you're so concerned about material abundance. You're so concerned about material gain in the world, and that doesn't really matter as much as you think it does. And that bothers them because that's the way they see it. No, this is the only thing that matters. This is the only thing that matters in life. I have to have more money, more things, more stuff. You're all, does that make you feel good? It doesn't fill the void that's been growing and growing and growing, because you're only going to ever need more to put in that. And that's something they find intimidating, because you don't follow the societal norms that say, let's just be consumerists, because that's where we're all headed, right? That's not who you are. The other thing that people find intimidating about you, pile 1, is that you believe in yourself. And we've tapped on that quite a few times in this reading. Like, you're not giving away your power. You trust that you're capable of getting to where you want to go. And again, with the seeds, the acorn seeds, right? Like the seed planter. You're the seed planter. Like, you are planting incredible seeds for great change. Change that you may or may not see in your lifetime. Change that you may or may not see at all, right? Sometimes you will and sometimes you won't. But it doesn't make it any less potent or impactful. Yeah, clear out the clutter. So you could be really preaching a minimalistic lifestyle. You don't have to be, right? But that's kind of what this energy is giving me right now. It's like, but we were talking about the materialistic, like the consumerist mindset, buying more and getting more stuff. It's like hoarding items and trying to hoard money and trying to hoard these things. And that's showing our spirit is in destitute need of something, right? And that's the thing here. It's like you're helping to clear out that clutter by helping people realize the things that you thought were so important they're not. There's other things that are far more important, like love and connection and growth and evolution. As love flies out of the deck. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Love, the number one thing. You're an embodiment of love, and that's naturally intimidating to people who are living in fear, right? Yeah, worry. I'm learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. And this is the thing, you leave people in a state of worry. Again, it's not your fault. Not your fault. Don't blame yourself. That's not why we're talking about this. It's not your fault. Just you leave people in a state of worry because they don't know what you're going to do with the information that you've gained that you shouldn't have gained, but you somehow gained because you're psychic, you're intuitive, you just know. Judge. Was it you I was talking about the scales of balance? If not, it might have been the collective message, but I really feel like it was yours, like where things were balanced on one side and now they've come to the other side, right? And this is a depiction of that. Balancing justice and compassion. Managing the fair distribution of power. So it's your power. This is the one thing, like if I could put one word on your reading, power. This is what people find intimidating about you. You are a very powerful person. The shadow is offering only destructive criticism, misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. Yeah, so you've had to overcome a lot of judgments in your life as well, with Judge coming out. Athlete. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps. You don't let anything get you down, and that's something that people find intimidating. Development of personal willpower. I cannot make this up. And strength of spirit. And then we have shadow energy, misuse of athletic abilities for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement. See, and the thing is it's your power, it's your willpower, your ability to overcome any challenge that you may face. And then mother. Wow, what a synchronicity here. Nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. And the shadow is smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. You are a mother energy. And again, if you're a man watching this, that's not to say like you're less masculine or anything. It's just you've healed so much the mother wound that you naturally give off a very compassionate, nurturing, loving energy. Even though you're a seed planter, you're someone here to change the world based on the love that you're capable of giving. And I know sometimes for men, like especially very masculine men, that can feel uncomfortable, but don't let that get you down. And I just want to say, even if you're a woman here and you feel like you identify with the divine masculine, right? Don't let that get you down. This is a very powerful energy to have within you. The mother archetype, the father archetype, the child archetype, any archetype you can think of, they all exist within us at any one given moment. And to be the embodiment of one is not to diminish another. It just means that in that moment, this is the chapter where we're embodying something that we need to, so that we can heal another part of ourselves. And that's what you're doing. You've healed so much the mother wound and the inner child wound, that what is intimidating about you is that you're able to give that love to others no matter where they're coming from. But that love does not mean rolling over and being a doormat. It means coming from a place of power and stability. Okay, so let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We've got the swan energy. Love. Yeah. Your love is intimidating. And that's not, that can be rough, because if you've been judged by your love in the past, right? Like people walked away because you love them so deeply, or whatever the case is, like that can feel very hurtful. But your love is a big gift, and it's so deep. And I've actually had this come out on a few readings, especially the zodiac readings I just did. There was 2 piles that I know of on a couple of different readings that came out where it was talking about someone's love was so deep. And you might resonate with one of those. I'm not going to say which ones because I can't tell you I remember, but they're the last readings that I did last week. So if you feel called to, you can find them in the playlist for Pick a Cards. But this is effortless creativity, sensitive, mystic, and elegant power. Your power is what people find so intimidating about you. The swan represents heightened creativity. In Hindu mythology, the goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry, rides on the back of this graceful creature. The swan is ready to take us there, to the fluid realm of writing, creating, and reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the swan card appears, your soul is calling for attention, for solo time. An inner voice is waiting to be heard, an inner vision likely to be revealed. When in balance, you have infinite creative power. When out of balance, you can be agitated, snippy, or lacking vision. To bring into balance, solo time or writing. So it's your ability to help share love with others, to share that creativity through love, but to remind people who need it most that it's okay for them to be who they are, that they are enough, because you've come into this space of honoring the fact that you're enough. But that has given you power and mastery over self. And that power and mastery over self is the one thing out of all the things that came out that people find intimidating about you, pile 1. So keep doing what if there's anything to be intimidated by someone of, that's an incredible feat. Okay, so own that and be yourself. We need you. So this is what I see here for you today. If you felt like this resonated, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little swan emoji down below and say, I own the love I give myself. And I allow that to pour out into the physical realm, knowing that it brings healing and allows me to plant seeds for others to evolve. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message today. And until next time, pile 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Mars on it, Or perhaps you felt called to this tiger's eye. Or maybe you were called to this card during the shuffle. This is going to be your reading on what do people find intimidating about you. We're all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so there might be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves, but there's no obligation to force it to fit. Well, remembering that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If it resonates with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply grateful to be here sharing it with you. So that being said, let's hop to it and find out, what do people find intimidating about you? Pile number 2. What do people find intimidating about you? Pile number 2. Source, what would you like to share with us today? What do people find intimidating about you? Okay, so we've got the 10th house. We've got Cancer energy, and we've got Uranus. You are affecting change in a very big way to a lot of people. So you could have an online presence or a community that you deal with, or that you are working in some type of social services setting is coming out. I don't know. I feel like you work with a lot of people or have access to connecting with a lot of people. So you could go and do like, what are those where they have you go and speak at like schools and stuff, you know, like the DARE program. I don't know. I grew up with the DARE program. I don't even know if that exists anymore, but where they would have officers come in and they would talk about the DARE program, or sometimes they have people who do certain types of jobs come in and share things with the school. So I do feel like you affect the youth, but you don't have to. Okay, you could be young at heart or have a very youthful energy about you too, and that could be what's coming through. But regardless, with this combination of dice, there's something that you do for work or that you have a lot of discipline towards where you can inspire and impact a lot of people. You have a lot of status and recognition in what you do. Like, there are people who really like what you offer. You could be building a business. You could have a platform that you're working with. You could be someone that's an inspirational motivator, a health coach. You could be someone that does Reiki. You could be someone that does yogic retreats. You could be someone that does yoga online, right? Like, these are things that are, these are just examples. They don't have to be. You could be working in construction and you just have the ability to charismatically connect with the people you're working with all the time. And maybe you work with different crews, right? So that's what this feels like, is that you're, whatever you do for work, you spend a lot of time with a lot of different people, or like always on the move, or always connecting with new people. Okay, so you could be a trainer of some kind too. But you are someone who's very nurturing and open and healing. You're also inviting, like, I feel like you oftentimes bring like treats for people at work, or you maybe bring cards. Like, if it's Valentine's Day, you might still do the whole little go to the store and get those little goofy Valentines that we gave everybody in school, and you give those out. And it's just because that's who you are. Like, you're someone who's really generous and kind and giving. And I feel like you've dealt with a lot of people who have taken advantage of you, but it's just, it goes against your nature to be a cruel person. Like, that's not who you are, but that's what people find intimidating about you. And the reason they find it intimidating about you, Pile 2, is because you have inspired and connected with and changed so many people's lives. And so this could be one person that's super upset by this, or this could be a lot of people that are coming in who are seeing this from, you know, as it's playing out. And there are people who are benefiting from it, but it's weird because I get this energetic line where it's like there's like down the middle, right? Like, so down the middle here, and there's the people over here who are mad about it, and then there's also the people over here on this side who are incredibly excited that you are who you are. Also, you could have had a recent promotion, and that promotion is something that people are intimidated by because you could have been a new employee, or people didn't know much about you, keep to yourself, and you just focus on what needs to be done to move forward. And that's something that people find intimidating about you. But the main thing is that you're incredibly friendly, you're very approachable, you're very innovative, you're original and authentic, you're smart, you're witty, and you are able to bring new creative ideas wherever you go that helps people. And you may not be someone who takes credit for those ideas, right? You may just be like, oh, I have an idea, and you pass it on, and everybody's giving you credit for that idea. And there's other people who are really sour that you have an infinite amount of creative potential within yourself. And they're like, oh, why can't I be like that, right? And so they're intimidated by that. And it's because they can't come up with even one idea, let alone the amount of ideas that you've come up with. Like, how are they always able to keep showing up? I do feel like the thing here, though, is that you could have some status, right? Like, you could be really well known. You could be a boss, a CEO, a president of a company. You could be someone that's an actor. Maybe you're an actor and actress, or you're a singer or a songwriter, or you're someone who's really well known on social media, right? These are things that are coming through. Like, you could have some clout behind you for the work that you've done, but I don't feel like it's something that's ever twisted you. I feel like it's something you're deeply grateful for. You celebrate the amount of hard work that you've done to get there. And there's just people who are intimidated by that because you're never this person that's like rubbing it in their faces. You're still incredibly approachable. You're still incredibly humble. You're still incredibly friendly, and just a genuine down-to-earth person. No matter what your status is, you're just very down-to-earth, and that's something that people find intimidating because of your status, because of the position you hold. Where I think it's reflecting back onto them, honestly, Pile 2, it's reflecting back onto them that if they had your position at the space that they're in now, they would lord that over everybody. They would use that as a reason to treat people like crap, and you don't. You're not out here trying to make people feel bad about their lives. Like, you're just trying to do the best for yourself. And that's how we should live, but that's not how everybody does live, right? So shoulda, coulda, woulda. But you embody that, and that's a powerful thing. And just remember, that's totally worth celebrating, right? So what do people find intimidating about you, Pile number 2? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So like, they want me to stop for a second and talk about this Temperance card, right? Because it's talking about blending of the opposites. This can talk about blending of the light and the shadow. But what I'm getting here is that you're blending that. It's like something that you've been given in life that gives you, almost like for some people would give you free reign to act like a total jerk, right? So it could be money, again, wealth, status, power, reputation. This could be just having like the masses, worldwide energy here, like affecting them. Like, it's something that would give you free reign to act like a total jerk, like some people do, but you don't. Like, you still act human, like the human you are. And that's something that people find incredibly intimidating. And even though you're super approachable, there's people here who are just like, well, I wish that they acted like a jerk, because then that would give me a reason to really hate them. Like, when I hate them now, like, I don't understand why I'm hating them, but they're hating on you because they're seeing themselves in you, and they're projecting their feelings of inadequacy onto you. And I do feel like you've risen above that as well. And I do feel like you're actually protected a lot from that. And that, you know, I really feel like Source is fighting a lot of your battles for you in that regard. So if people are like leaving really nasty comments, or if people are saying really nasty things about you, there's times when it never comes back to you because there's some kind of mix up, or technology fails, or they delete their message, or whatever it is. And it's because Source is protecting you always from that stuff, because you're meant to change the world Whoa, all the cards just totally fell out. Hold on. That was so random. Yeah, you're meant to change the world. To pick up a mess, that's what they just said. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, to pick up the mess. Okay, that makes sense. Why are people intimidated by you? Because they have a problem with authority, and you're a leader. You're a natural born leader. You're not dizzy on a brick leader. You're someone who gets down and works in the trenches with others. You're someone who does the hard work. You're not expecting everyone to lift you up and you stand on their shoulders while you crack a whip. That's just not the way you look at it. You're incredibly fortunate. You have a lot of good fortune in your life. You could have Sagittarius highly aspect in your chart. You could have Sagittarius in the 5th house. You could have Sagittarius in the 10th house. You could have Cancer in the 10th house. Uranus and Cancer. You could have Sagittarius in the 9th house is coming through. You could have Uranus in Sagittarius. Uranus in Aries is coming through. Uranus in Libra is coming through as well. Okay. And some really prominent 6th house placements. Okay. So let's go here. Yeah, you like, wow. Your energy is just very, it's very powerful. You could have come from pile 1, right? You didn't have to, it's fine. But if you felt called to that pile 2, there might be additional message for you. But I feel like you're just very powerful in the sense of no matter how high you go, you're not using that as an excuse to be a brat. You know, some people, they get just a little bit of authority and they turn into a monster, right? But that's just not who you are. You're just not that energy. It's just like you're the same person no matter what happens in your life. Whether you had $10 in your bank account or whether you have $10 million in your bank account, you're still going to be the same person because you've done the inner work. And a lot of people get that mixed up. They think, oh, like if I have money, like all my problems would go away. If I had status, all my problems would go away. If I had, recognition, all my problems would go away. But really all those things do are highlight our toxic traits if we don't face them, right? It just shows our character, who we truly are. Because now we feel like we don't have to hide it. But for you, there's nothing to hide because you're very open, you're friendly, you're approachable, you're healing, you're abundant. I feel like you have a lot of love offers. If you're like, no, I don't. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people who wish they could offer you love. But people love you. People love you. And that's what people find intimidating about you. Even the people who are intimidated by you, I feel like they still can't, again, like they're hating on you because they want to find something wrong with you. But I feel like they still can't help but love you. Or they still can't help but wonder what you're up to and spy on you and check up on you and like, oh, what's pile 2 doing right now? Like, I need to know what's going on in their lives right now. They can't help it. I feel like the other thing is that no matter how you look, like the people who maybe want to approach you for love are very, very good looking and very abundant people too. And that's something that intimidates people about you because they're saying like, it could be that energy. Like, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but like, have you ever heard of a 10 couple? This always makes me laugh. I'm a fluffy girl. I've been fluffy my whole life. Okay. That's why I love Gabriel Iglesias. If you don't know what that means, check out Gabriel Iglesias, but a 10 couple, right? A 10 couple. So maybe you're someone who's really skinny and very elegant and very beautiful and very good looking, but like you maybe have a soft spot for fluffy people. You're just like, I just love fluffy people. I love how soft they are. I love like, they're like marshmallows that I get to cuddle up with every night, or vice versa, right? Like maybe you're the fluffy person and whoever it is that's offering you love, they're just like, oh my gosh, you're like my big fluffy pillow and I love you. Okay, but it doesn't have to be 10 couple. But it could just be oddities like that, right? Like someone's really tall and someone's really short, or someone's, just maybe from an entirely different culture. And you guys, it's like, it doesn't, how does that work? Like people are asking like, how does that work? But it just does, right? And that's something that people find intimidating because you're not afraid to be outside of the normal accepted romantic ideas, or maybe it's like you prefer a certain type of people and that's not what everybody else prefers, and you're like, cool, more for me, right? Or maybe you're in that for who these people are coming to, is like you're someone that's more preferred by a certain group of people, and they're like, cool, you know, like if not everybody likes pile 2, that's fine, more for me, right? But there's something about that that intimidates others, and that could be past relationships, or that could just be who you are now, you know, like I feel like you're just very open, you're very loving. You could be pansexual too, that's coming in. That was really loud how that came in. So if you don't know what that is, that's cool, it's not for you. But that's something that's coming in. You could just be someone that's pansexual, and that makes people really uncomfortable sometimes. But love is love. You know, love who you love, and that's it, love who you love. But I do feel like the main thing here is that you're in a state of authority and people find you intimidating. So like if you work for a company, they're intimidated by you because you're in a space of authority. Like, you know, you could be the boss, and that's just naturally something that people are intimidated by. They're just scared. Like, oh, the boss is here. Like, I have to look busy, even though I'm not busy. I have to look like I'm professional, or I have to look like this, or I have to do that. And they start stressing themselves out. So I do feel like you have a position of authority in your life. And also, too, like if it's not at a job, like it's just you still have that position of authority and you're inspiring people. And so like if you reach out and comment, or if you reach out and email them and talk to them, they're just like immediately intimidated because it's like, oh my gosh, it's pile 2. Like I'm fangirling right now, or I'm fanboying right now, you know, whatever it is. That's what it feels like. And so there's that initial excitement, but then they get really nervous. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Yeah, you have some, like, I really feel like you have some authority. You have a lot of abundance. You could be a spiritual leader. You could be, I don't know. There's no telling, right? Because it's a general reading. So there's just a lot of different energies that are coming in. Mars, move forward and defend self. See, this is that energy that I was saying. It's like you're always on the move, but you're not someone who's a jerk about it. So like if you are a police officer who goes and talks to schools, right? Like you're not that typical bully police officer that has become a stereotype, just like eating donuts, right? Like you don't fit into either one of those. And that's something that people are just naturally intimidating because you wear a badge, or you wear a uniform, or you have a title, right? And that's the thing. It's like you're not afraid to defend yourself, but it's like people are almost expecting you to be a very aggressive, abrasive personality. And so they're judging you based on your looks. And that's why, you know, or based on your job title, or based on your title in life. They're judging you based on that. And I feel like you blow them out of the water when you actually open your mouth and talk to them. So it's almost like an immediate intimidation that gets quelled by talking to you or speaking to you. But there are still some people who are intimidated because you hold that position. Yeah, the internal gatekeeper. Yeah. Acknowledge, assert, and protect what is right for you. Yeah. You just have this very powerful presence. It's very overwhelming, and it's giving off, don't mess with me. So you could have an RBF, if you know what that is, right? You could definitely own that. Or you could just be someone that people are really afraid to approach. Like, how do I approach pile 2? How do I go up to pile 2 and talk to them? And you might realize that there's a lot of people who don't. But then when they see you interacting with everyone else, they're like, oh my gosh, I thought that the pile 2 was so scary. Like, how did you interact with them? And they're like, what? They're not scary at all. Right? So that's something that people find intimidating about you. I feel like you're just a very kind and generous person. Right? Like I was getting that at the beginning. Like maybe you bake goods for people, or you take in treats, or you do like the Valentine's Day thing. You bring chocolates for everybody, or maybe you buy donuts. We were saying the police officer and donuts, but maybe you buy donuts for people in the morning or something like that. Or you bring coffee orders, or you make coffee at home and you bring it for everybody. You know, it's something like that. We have dolphin spirit. This and that are true. So see, that's the thing though with you, pile 2, is that when you need to be assertive or when you need to be abrasive, you are. right? But mostly you're very chill and relaxed and humble and kind and generous. But there are times when you have to bite back because people won't leave you alone or because people are pushing the envelope. And you definitely give that to them when it's necessary. But mostly you're just very approachable, or maybe not approachable. I feel like people struggle to approach you, but I feel like mostly you're just very easygoing and down to earth. There we go. Yeah, very prickly at first with the porcupine, regardless of what this says, just with the porcupine coming out, right? Very prickly. You have a very prickly exterior, almost like you're very rough or you've just had a really rough life and you wear it. But that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually just your armor. It's just what you've been through and it's become part of your armor. It's not even a mask. It's just when you've had a really rough life, sometimes your life is reflected on your skin or it's reflected on in your voice, right? Maybe you have a really gravelly, deep voice, or you talk very slow or you talk very low. Even like if you're a woman, you talk really low for a woman. Or, you don't get super excited about things, or you might have like a deadpan look in your eyes. And that's the type of energy that you might give off at first. But I feel like when people start to talk to you and you open up, they're always surprised and they're always like, wow, look at pile 2. Like they have this really beautiful energy about them. So it's just, I feel like you just wear your life on your shoulders and that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But we have time for a beginner mindset. Like you're always learning. You're always exploring. You're always open-minded about so many things. You're very wise. You know a lot about a lot of things. I feel like you just know a lot of information. People are always like, oh, I never knew that pile 2 knew so much. Yeah, and we have gratitude flipping over. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities it presents. And you're someone that's very grateful. And I feel like that's the other thing is that when people actually get the courage to talk to you, or when people get the courage to come forward and meet you or whatever, again, whatever the situation is, I feel like they're deeply grateful that they did. Like there's something that you leave on their heart. There's an imprint that you leave on their heart and they're very grateful for that. And they're like grateful that they actually stepped forward because otherwise they might have been, without that. Self-esteem. I possess the gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Yeah. You're very confident in yourself. Even though you're humble, it doesn't mean you're not confident, right? You're very confident in who you are. You're very clear. You're very courageous. You're very open. What do people find intimidating about pile number 1? Is it this one, source? Yeah. Okay. Pile 3, huh? Pile 1 got a whole bunch of those. We have the advocate. Inspires you to put compassion into action. Yeah, you're a very compassionate person. Very nurturing. You might stand up. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, if you do, like, the DARE program or something like that where you talk to kids, like, you help. Maybe you're speaking out about bullying, or maybe you're helping to, put people in their place in situations that it makes you seem scary, right? But you're really not. Like, you're just trying to give a voice to people who otherwise wouldn't have a voice. Like, that's a very specific message for someone here. But there's something that you're nurturing and growing that's incredibly powerful. The shadow is embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. Yeah, and so I do feel like you stand up against a lot of that. Here comes the train. All right, so let's take a look at these first. Poet expresses soul insights in symbolic languages. The shadow turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. Yeah, so you are very elegant in the way that you speak. Like, it just doesn't match, right? It's like what they see on the outside doesn't match what actually comes out of you. So, and that's why I'm saying, like, you're very friendly. You're someone who's very kind. And I feel like that's something that intimidates people. Like, they have this idea of you in their mind, but then when they see you interact with other people, or they've interacted with you themselves, like it blows them away because they just don't go hand in hand. Which is why I was saying, like with the 10 couple, maybe it's not even about the people that you love, but it's just your exterior versus what's internal within you seem like a 10 couple, right? They seem like they don't match, or they're opposites attracting type energy, because it's like, I would have never expected that. Maybe you look like this rough rider on the outside where you're like in a Harley gang and you've got tons of piercings and tattoos, but then when people talk to you, you're just a big teddy bear, right? And you love people and you want peace in the world and you want people to realize their own mistakes and take accountability for themselves and just honor their journey. And people are like, what? Like, you're not out here just trying to cause havoc? And you're like, no, not at all. Like, what gave you that opinion? Or maybe you laugh about it. You're like, oh yeah, I could see where you got that, right? But that's something that people find intimidating about you. Okay, so we have the father energy here. Talent for creating and supporting life. Positive guiding light within a tribal unit. And the shadow is dictatorial control and abusive authority. Honestly, this is the energy. Most people, they get this idea that you're going to be in this abusive authority energy, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. But you're actually this guiding light for so many people. You're just, you're down to help people get better, and you're down to help guide them to where they need to go, but you're not doing the work for them. You're just a light to people, and it leaves people just completely stunned and shocked. So I was saying, there's something about your exterior, like how you look, that just doesn't match who you are internally, but it's actually very perfect. I feel like it's perfect. And I hope you feel like it's perfect too, because those are the moments when we realize that we've been holding on to societal judgments for too long. And I feel like for you, Pile 2, you're here to help break those societal judgments. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. That's what I'm getting here. And for you, you shouldn't, because you offer something very beautiful and humbling and kind. And that's something that a lot of people would miss if they, and maybe a lot of people do miss if they don't allow you an opportunity, or, allow themselves an opportunity to connect with you. The house 5, yeah. Passion, play, children, confidence, and creativity. So again, you're very confident, and that's something that people find incredibly intimidating. Like, you're very secure in who you are. You also have this very goofy side to you, very playful side to you, and I feel like that surprises a lot of people, and that can be intimidating as well, because maybe they feel like you never take anything seriously, but for you, there's a time and a place. Key to intimacy. Yeah, intimate love is a core need to be met in relation to ourselves and those closest to us. The journey to intimacy often includes learning what love is not. This is a perfect card to come out when I was saying, it's like, there's something about you that helps to shatter societal judgment on what is accepted and what is not accepted. You're helping to shatter that illusion and replace it with love. And that's something that is actually very intimidating to a lot of people who aren't ready for it. But I feel like there's a greater amount of people. That's why I was saying, like, there's a line in the sand. But this side over here is so small compared to this side over here, which is people who need this, people who want what you have to offer, people who are ready for what you have to offer. And the people on this side, they're like, oh no, I'm not ready to change, right? That's where they're intimidated by you. So let's take a look at your card here. I'm going to read this one from the book. We've got Tiger. Already just an intimidation tactic at the beginning. You just have a very powerful energy about you. There's just this presence about you that is unmatched, and the Tiger is a fire energy. And so it's something that's very, very powerful. It can burn people. If you did not catch the collective message at the beginning, if you feel called to, should check it out, because it will have additional messages for you. All right, where are you at, Tiger? Found lion. There we go, Tiger. Yeah, look at this. The lunar force. Yeah, you're very, very, very giving and kind. Like, you could be a masculine on here, but that's why you might have resonated with Pile 1, okay? There's a little bit of similarities. They're actually vastly different energies, but there's a little bit of similar messages that came through. But with the Cancer energy, like this nurturing energy that you have, right? So we have lunar force, ease and darkness, and that makes total sense. And then feminine energy. The Tiger hunts at night and one with the silence. Fearing nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits, sensuality, Receptivity and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, and the tiger takes advantage of these boons. Spend some time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. When in balance, you're passionate, strong, and sensual. When out of balance, you tend to be overstimulated. To bring into balance is Trataka, which is candle gazing. Yeah, so you might be the one that the channel message I received in the beginning was for. And you can definitely check that out. That's timestamped down in the description box if you feel called to. No obligation. But that's an additional message here. So that's just a really powerful energy to come through, right? You're this force, but you spend time in the darkness. And I feel like that's what I'm saying. Like there's something about you that feels dark, or that feels maybe unorthodox is a better word to put here, that people would just usually naturally judge and just say like, oh, I can't deal with pile number 2 because of said unorthodox. And when people actually have the courage to look beyond that, they're pleasantly surprised and super grateful that they did, because you're such a powerhouse energy in the world and you offer so much. And I want you to celebrate yourself, because I feel like maybe you've spent a lot of time judging yourself in your past, or maybe you felt a lot of time like maybe all the way, like if you have a lot of tattoos, maybe at one point that was your armor, that was your mask. But now it's a part of you and it's who you are, and there's no judging that any longer. It's that acceptance. But I do feel like you accept that, right? You accept those things. And if you're still in that precipice, just remember that's such a powerful place to come from when you come from that self-acceptance. So you're really an amazing energy, pile number 2. And I'm so honored I got to do this reading with you today, because you've been such a blessing to sit among together. Felt like this was your reading, leave the little tiger emoji down below and say, even though I may intimidate, I am a gift to the world because I'm helping to break down societal judgments based on who I am. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you will find everything you need in the description box. I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this powerful and beautiful message today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the North Node on it, or perhaps you felt called to this shard of amethyst, or maybe you felt called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what do people find intimidating about you. We are all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining us. We do things differently here on this channel, so triggering statements might arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If the message does resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply grateful to be here sharing it with you. So with that being said, pile number 3, let's hop to it and find out, what do people find intimidating about you? What do people find intimidating about you, pile number 3? Source, what would you like to share with us today? So the North Node still came out. Yeah, you could have Capricorn or Cancer in the North Node, South Node. You could have your North Node in the 10th house too, coming in. But why are people intimidated about you? Because you are doing exactly what you were designed to do. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's like the job for you, or the career for you, or the business for you. And you've mastered yourself. Self-mastery is intimidation, because it means that nothing outside of us can affect us any longer. It can, You know, it can keep hitting us and ping-ponging off of us, but it's not going to deter us from our journey. It's not going to stop us. It's not going to become a barrier, right? And that's the thing here. It's like you've come to this space of self-mastery where nothing outside of you affects you anymore. You keep coming back stronger and you keep working on yourself, and you're very disciplined about taking care of yourself and moving towards the direction that you want to go. It's been a long journey. It's been a really overwhelming journey for you, Pile 3. I can feel it. I can feel how exhausted many of you are. But no matter how exhausted you get, you never quit. You are someone who just, the word quit doesn't exist in your vocabulary. Like, what is that? Right? You don't give up. You just always put forth effort, and you are super disciplined, and you are consistent. And even if your consistency falters a little bit, like maybe you have, you know, obviously people get sick, or people have bad days, or even bad weeks, right? No matter what, that might slow you down, but it doesn't stop you. And that's the thing that people find the most intimidating about you, is because there's nothing that stops you. Nothing is a barrier for you. Nothing is an obstacle for you. You find a way to overcome it. And every time you come back way stronger than you were before. And no one can keep up with you. And I feel like people have made it a competition with you, and they just can't keep up with you. And that's another thing that they find intimidating about you, is there's just no matching your pace. Right? Why do I hear that song, Astronaut in the Ocean? Like an astronaut in the ocean. I can't remember who sings it, but it's like, there's a point there where he says, if I don't get paid for progression, I'm gonna work it. And then he says, everything I do is electric. And then there's even a part like where he mentions in there, it's like, you can try to match my grind, but please do not waste my time. Like, that's what I'm seeing here. It's like, it's almost like you welcome everyone. Go ahead, try and match my grind, but do not waste my time, right? Don't even go down that road. We're not gonna, because I'm not gonna let you waste my time. It's just not gonna happen. You think you're gonna catch my attention by you turning it into a competition? Cool, more for you, but I feel like you're only in competition with yourself, Pile 3. Like, you're not focused on what everyone else is doing. You're just focused on being the best version of yourself, the most aligned version of yourself, the most healed version of yourself, and you realize it's a journey, not a destination. And that's another thing that people find intimidating about you, is that you found contentment with the journey, the ups, the downs, the twists, the turns, the roundabouts, the unknowns. Like, you're fine being there. Yeah. Let's get some tarot out. You are doing exactly what you were designed for, though. That's for sure. Like, there's nothing else that you could do. And I'm sure there's something else you could have chosen to do, but this is something that, like, I feel like you've chosen to do, and it's you. It's very authentic to you. It's something you enjoy. It's something you wouldn't want it any other way. And it's perfect. It's perfect for you, Pile 3. What do people find intimidating about pile number 3, Source? What would you like to share with us? You do not believe in the illusion of, I can't do that. You're like Thomas, the little tank engine. I think I can, 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 I think I can. Like, it doesn't matter how far away success might seem. Like, it's not about the success necessarily. It's almost like as if you're proving it to yourself. Like, I can do this. That's what you're doing now. And that's something that people find intimidating, because validation, outside validation, means nothing. Outside criticism means nothing. It's not that it's not nice to hear, like, those praises, right? I feel like you do like to hear them, but it's not what keeps you going. It's just, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's just confirmation for me that I know I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. What do people find intimidating about you, Pile 3? Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. What do people find intimidating about you, Pile 3? Whoa, come back, homie. Don't go sliding around like that. We ain't gonna play that game, not today. On the bottom of the deck, yeah, we have the 5 of coins. Always changing. Always changing. It's not that you're necessarily always on the move. That's not the energy that I'm getting. But, you know, like change doesn't have to come from constant motion. Change comes from accepting, reflecting, and allowing growth to happen. And you embody that. And you're not afraid of that. Yeah, always changing. Always changing. And this is interesting energy, right? Like with this combination of cards, this is really interesting here. You have the Five of Wands, you have the Sun in the reverse, and you have the Knight of Swords in the reverse. But honestly, the energy that I feel like is depicting you is this energy. What people are intimidated by is what they're seeing within themselves. They're feeling stuck. Like, oh my gosh, pile 3 has it so easy. They've never felt stuck like me. And I don't feel like that's true at all. I feel like you know what it is to be stuck. You know what it means to be stagnant. You know what it means to be in a state of resistance. You also know what it means to be in a state of being misled by those negative beliefs or those negative thoughts or those ideas or doubt, self-doubt maybe. Like these are all things that you know, you're very aware of, but the difference is that you have not let it become the reason you stop. It's like you recognize the doubt, and maybe there were times when that doubt made you slow down, like almost come to a halt, but there was something inside of you that said keep going. You got a message from source, you got a spiritual download that says we need you to keep going for you, and you were like, okay, I can do that, no matter how hard life got. But the thing is what makes you intimidating is that people feel like they're stuck and that they don't know how to move on, and yet you're still moving. Their lives have come to a complete stop, and yet you're still moving. Their lives have become disastrous, and yet you're still moving. And that's what people are intimidated by. It's like no matter what comes your way, you keep moving. And it doesn't have to be an action. It's just you're evolving, you're growing, you're ascending, you are glowing up, right? This could be a body too, like your outward appearance has changed. You've gotten younger looking. You have changed the way that you dress. You changed the way that you show up. You're not that same people pleaser that you once were. So there's a lot of energy coming in where it's like people have watched you for quite a bit of time and they see you changing and they see you being different, but what they don't want to honor is the fact that they themselves are refusing to change. They're being obstinate. And so that's what makes you so intimidating, because no matter what happens to you, you still regain your balance after disaster. You regain momentum after tragedy. You regain your dreams and goals after seemingly failing. Like none of that stops you, no matter what. There are so many people watching you right now, pile 3. People who would throw in the towel at the slightest deviance in the journey. And you have it. And that's what makes you so intimidating. Like no matter how bleak things get, you still keep showing up for the journey. You have mastered yourself. Like that's the power that comes with this journey that you're on. It's not about the success. It's about the self-mastery. And so many people are so tuned in and focused on and only looking at the success. Even with your journey, they look at the success. They're like, oh, well, pile 3 isn't successful yet, or pile 3 isn't where they said they were going to be, or pile 3 doesn't have what they have or what they thought they would have. So they're not doing it, but they're still showing up. Like, why are they still showing up? Like, it just seems pointless. But for you, it's not about that. It was never about all those accolades. It was about knowing that you could, even when things got difficult, even when things became a challenge. And that's why I'm saying, like, there's something much more that's driving you. This is the drive of the spirit. This is the drive of source. This is the guidance of your team in the spiritual realm, basically picking you up every time you fall. Every time you stumble, every time you trip, they're there to catch you. They've got your back. And they've proven that to you time and time again. And that's what keeps you going. Because it's like, if I've got a team that's by my side through thick and thin, no matter what, and they're still cheering me on, even when I'm ready to just quit, I can still show up. So you have this drive about you. And maybe it's not your spiritual team. Maybe you have a physical support team in the world. There's somebody in your corner that's always cheering you on, and that's what gives you that drive. But there's something about your spirit. There's a driving spirit that you have. It's not about motivation. It's not even about inspiration. There's just, it's like overdrive. Your spirit's on overdrive. We've got to get to a certain destination. And the only way to get there is if we keep stepping. And that's something that intimidates people because they don't have that self-mastery. They don't have that ability. Whew, I gotta close the window. It's a little chilly outside, y'all. I got goose pimples. Look, I got goose pimples. It's so chilly outside. Okay. Warm up my hands a little. Okay. Yeah, and I feel like the other thing here, too, is that people are intimidated by the fact that you never lose or you never seem to lose hope. I feel like that's not necessarily accurate because I do feel like there have been times when you have lost hope. But even though you've lost hope, you still kept going because it became, the consistency and the discipline here has become so much more than the outcome, right? So the best thing to liken this to is if you work out, okay? And this is just the easiest thing to liken it to. It could be anything, but if you work out and say when you first started, maybe you showed up 3 days a week, right? But then your life changed and you started showing up almost nearly every day. Even on days you didn't want to. What happened when you changed your life and you decided to commit to this? It became more about the commitment, the consistent commitment, than it was about what working out actually offered you. This is just something you promised yourself and you didn't want to break that promise to yourself. And that's what this feels like. So this could be work. There's something about this work, this job that you have, this connection, this business that you have. You made a commitment and you made a promise to yourself and you don't want to break that promise. And I feel like the promise is, I want to see if I can do it. I want to be my own competition. And I want to prove to myself that I can, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, with working out is the easiest way to show this is that eventually working out just becomes something you do. It's not even who you are. It's not anything like that. It's just something that you get up and you do because you've done it for so long. And to not do it leaves you feeling, it just leaves a weird feeling. Right? You're just like, oh, I don't feel good. I didn't work out. Like, I can feel it in my bones. I can, like, the ache from not showing up. And this is the weirdest thing. I've experienced this too. I've done yoga this is year number 8 that I've done yoga. And, there's this weird situation that you run into where it's like you don't want to show up because you're tired, you're not getting the results you want, or whatever the situation is. You're like, what's the point? Or life has just got you down. But there's this weird transition point where you go from now you're not showing up and your body aches from not showing up, and I'd rather ache from showing up because that feels better than aching from not showing up. And that's what this feels like. So it's like an ache of the spirit. That's what it is. Okay, thank you, Source. That makes sense. So it's like the ache of the spirit. It hurts worse when you don't show up versus how it hurts when you show up and maybe you're not seeing exactly what you want or seeing exactly what you thought you would have by now. And that's what's so intimidating is because, like, you ache no matter, right? You ache no matter what you do. But there's like a lesser of the two, and the lesser of the two is alignment with where you're going. And that's why people are so intimidated. What they find intimidating about you is because that ache of the spirit, it won't let you stop. That's why it's like a drive of the spirit. It's an ache of the spirit. It's a need of the spirit. It's like, we need to go here. And there's nothing, ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. We're on the groove. Right? Like, that's it. You're just, there's no stopping you. And there have been people who've tried to keep up with you. They've tried to step for step with you. And they lost a long time ago. They lost and they gave up a long time ago. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I could do the same thing that Pile 3 is doing, but they can't. So there's something about you making it look flawlessly easy. And it's not. And it's not. What you do, what you show up to do, it's not easy. And so when people try it, and I feel like the people who are most intimidated by you are the people who try to dip their toes in the routine of pile three's life. Oh, let me try what pile three does. Let me show up like that. What happens? And they're like, oh no, no. I don't know how pile three does it, but I cannot do it. And so there's a bit of jealousy there too, but I feel like that's the main thing. Is just like you're just a powerhouse of forward motion. That's the energy. Yeah, Aries. I'm not surprised Aries came in here. Independence, bravery, and passioning. A way shower. You are a trailblazer. You are setting records, right? You could be training for Olympics or heavy sports, or you could be doing something that may be in a saturated market, but it doesn't matter how saturated the market is, you're still going to make an imprint in the market. And the reason you're going to make an imprint is because it doesn't matter. You're still showing up. It's like success is guaranteed for you, but there's no saying when that success is going to come, right? And I'm not going to. That is not my job here. When we get too focused on a time frame, we forget to keep doing what we were doing, right? So we have this coming out, women supporting women. Ooh, I like this. We have together we can transcend our individual limitations. So there could be okay, two things here. You could be working with ancestors from your mother's lineage, and together you are all going beyond blockages and limitations, right? Overcoming those limitations. Or this could be women that you have in your life that are helping you to transcend those limitations, right? To overcome them. Or you're helping other women learn how to transcend limitations and limiting beliefs that have kept them feeling like they have to be small. So like maybe mother to mother, or maybe even father to mother, right? Or parent to parent. And you're coming in from a place of like, we need to keep going for the bettering of ourselves so we can better those who come after us. But I feel like the other thing here is that you're very trustworthy. And that's another thing that people find intimidating. Before you get upset, okay, it's people who are not trustworthy themselves. Those are the ones that are most intimidated by your trustworthiness and your honor and your integrity. But you are someone who I'm putting my faith in source, and I'm gonna surrender and do what's being asked of me. And when you come into that space, sometimes that's something that's incredibly intimidating to others, because you're not seeing progress necessarily with your two eyes, but you're feeling it in your heart and your soul. And that is something that people have a hard time understanding. And so that's why people find you intimidating. Yeah. So wisdom in play. You could have resonated with another pile. And really quickly, if you watched all three piles, you're a part of the Purple Heart Club. Just leave a purple heart down below and I'll know what that means. And I just really appreciate anybody who spends any amount of time with me on these readings. So it says our intuition knows more than we do. Yeah. So there was a commercial a couple of years ago, and I don't remember the name of the guy. Like, he's a spiritual leader now, and he does all kinds of things. He kind of has this like crazy wavy hair, and he's got documentaries on Gaia. But I remember once there was this commercial where he's like, one day I woke up and I did whatever my intuition told me. I did it for the whole day just to see what would happen. And he said, and it changed my life. But I feel like that's how you live your life. Like you follow what your intuition is telling you. It's not about, it's because your intuition is asking maybe a lot from you, or your intuition is asking you to not put limitations on yourself, right? And you're trusting that if I don't, maybe I'll get to somewhere where I can finally see those results. So you're just trusting in the process. There's just a deep faith that's coming into play here. And faith is intimidating to people. And that's another thing. It's like when you have unshakable faith, especially for if you're not religious, maybe you're very spiritual. You could be religious, and that's fine too, you know. Whatever it is that you feel like you identify with. But it's like, I'm just going to use this as an example here. If you're spiritual and you have faith, and it's unwavering and unshakable faith, And maybe you talk to people who are very religious and they're not sure, right? Like they haven't really practiced good faith, or it's all about, oh, as long as they go to church on Sunday, then I'll be fine, but they don't really have faith that things are going to work out. When you have that unshakable faith, it really, really gets to people. Because how do you have it and you're not even going to church? Or how do you have it and you're not even religious? Like, they're always comparing it to their own circumstances. But they never once ask, how do you have it from a genuine place? Like, well, what led you to having unshakable faith in this way? So that's what's intimidating, because they're too afraid to ask. So they'd rather sit in judgment, right? So we have the Avenger here with desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. And the Shadow is resorting to violence in the name of a cause. Yeah, so I do feel like you are bringing this balance back into society, reminding people, right, with women supporting women, that you can go beyond what you ever thought was possible if you give yourself an opportunity. Ooh, we have Don Juan here. Spotlights your positive, seductive qualities. So you're a very seductive person, and that's something that other people find intimidating about you as well. This could be specifically married people coming in who find that incredibly intimidating, because they're like, never would have thought about cheating. And I'm not saying that they would cheat with you or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that your seductive qualities are very tempting for them, and that's intimidation too. It's like they're afraid that they're gonna do something wrong. Or maybe you've been approached by a lot of married people. It's interesting. I mean, specifically married men. So this could be for my gay men out there, and I'm all inclusive here, so it's whatever you are, but this is a very specific message here, especially if you're a gay man. Like, you could be getting approached by married men, and there's something that's really unusual about that because of your seductive qualities. It just draws them in. And that's another reason why people are intimidated by you, but especially men. So there's like this energy where especially men are intimidated by you. And you could be a woman who gets a lot of requests from married men. You could even be a straight guy who gets hit on by a lot of married men. Like, what the heck is happening here? But that's something that's coming in, and that's a really specific message, okay? But I do feel like people are naturally attracted to you, and you're not their type. Like, you're very different from what they would like. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you or that you don't have beautiful qualities. I feel like you're incredibly beautiful. You're incredibly handsome. I feel like you're very good looking, but you also have this beautiful light about you. It's just that you're not what these people would normally go towards, and that's something they find intimidating too. So we do have the Shadow is using the power of romantic attraction for private agenda. Yeah, so I feel like you get hit a lot with this Shadow. And that could be why you're in this, like, the women supporting women. Like, you're helping people to walk away from toxic situations. And that could be intimidating to people who, they want to keep people in the cage. They want to keep people confined, right, with the Sun in the reverse, for this to come out over the Sun in the reverse. We have courage. I find the inner courage to face fear with confidence. Yeah, you're very courageous. And you might say a lot of things that people are thinking, but you say it out loud and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad someone said it out loud. But that can intimidate people who maybe weren't ready to hear it or didn't want to, right? Like, I didn't want to hear that. But it doesn't mean that it was wrong if it's truthful, right? Like, the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, doesn't make it wrong. And that sometimes a lot of people have a hard time with that because they're letting their triggers overwhelm the seeds that they're receiving. Love. I commit to the practice of seeing good in all things. Yeah. And I feel like you're here, like, your self-mastery has given you a presence of love. And love is not what everybody expects it to be. And sometimes that's really scary too, right? Because people are expecting love to be what they want it to be, not what it really is. So conditional love, they want it to be conditional love. I'll only love you if, or I'll only love you when, right? Like, that's what most people want love to be, but that's not what love really is. Love is unconditional, and unconditional love is not a doormat. It's not disempowered love. It's a very empowered love that stands and in a firm state of self-awareness while also leaving space for others, maybe from a distance and maybe up close. Yeah, cardinal energy, instigation, bravery, and a pioneering spirit. You are a way shower. You could have Aries highly aspect in your chart. We have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, okay? We did say Capricorn north or south node coming in as well. And then we have Rebel. You could also have Aquarius Sun, okay? Challenging authority to affect social change. Reject spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. Yeah, so there's like, you could have maybe been spiritual at one point and then you turned religion because it worked better for you, or vice versa. You were very religious growing up and then you turned very spiritual because it worked better for you. So you found what worked for you spiritually, whatever that is, whatever path that is. But you have a very unshakable faith. And that's also why people see you as a rebel, because you've chosen a path that not only aligned with you, but allowed you to step into that unshakable faith. And that's why people find you intimidating. The shadow attributes is rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. Yeah. And I feel like people have tried to, like, again, this energy, have tried to keep up with you. Like, they thought that they could get to a place of faith like you did. They thought that they could get to a place of success like you did. They thought that they could incorporate your life into their life. And I feel like because it's not authentic to them, it just doesn't work. And so they're intimidated by that because you do it with flawless effect. It looks good. Why? Because it's you and it's meant to be you. So we have this card here. I'm going to look at this and we're going to read this from the book. Scorpion. Yeah, you got a stinger on you for sure. A lot of fiery energy today. But I feel like that's the thing. It's like your bite is strong when you have to bite. Like you're not a doormat. When you need to stand up, you do. And you do it from a place that silences a lot of people. And it doesn't mean that it's without love. It doesn't mean that it's without compassion. But also I feel like that's a thing. It's like people, what is it? Oh, okay, they're saying when you fight the bull, expect the horn. Like, that's the type of energy that you have, right? Look at this. I can't make this up. Passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. So competition, like that's something that people find intimidating about you. But the thing is I feel like you're not playing that game of like, yeah, let's turn this into a friendly competition. Maybe at some point you did, but I feel like more or less you're always in competition with yourself to prove to yourself that you can. And no one can compete with that because that's a bar that no one even knows where it starts or ends, right? It says the scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the scorpion's heat festers and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. The Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. When in balance, you are wild and free and fierce. When out of balance, you're jealous, resentful, and unresolved. Didn't I say there's jealousy coming through here? It was really strong. Oh my gosh, what a confirmation. There's somebody or there's a group of people here that are jealous because of the energy you possess, and that's their own projections, right? So no reason to take that personal. And to bring into balance is honesty and forgiveness. And I feel like that's the other thing that's intimidating about you too, is that you forgive in situations that most people wouldn't. Most people would hold on to that for so long. They would make their identity around holding on to that being burned or that feeling of suffering. And for you, it was more important for you to let go. Like I said, listening to your intuition. And I feel like that's the path that it's led you on, is towards forgiveness. And people find that intimidating because it's like, well, you went through something that was horrible, or a few things that were very horrible, and yet you still found it in your heart to forgive. And they're like, I could never do that, right? And that immediately puts you on two separate scales in life. It's not worse or better. It's just that's where they're at, and this is where you are. But a lot of people find that intimidating about you. And it's not a bad thing, right? You're actually helping others. Again, the way shower, you're helping others find peace with situations, which we were talking about, leaving toxic situations. You're helping others find peace with those situations and to truly put them to rest so that they can heal fully from it instead of letting that wound fester, which Scorpion can do. But Scorpion also has the power to forgive in a very powerful way, to be free from the festering. And that is something that people find intimidating about you. And I feel like the people who find that intimidating are the very people who are just not in a space to forgive right now, right? They're just not in a space where they're comparing themselves to you. But you have a very powerful energy. You have a very necessary energy as well. I hope you understand and appreciate that about yourself. So this is what I see here for you today, pile number 3. If you felt like this was your reading, is there a little scorpion emoji down below? I think there is. Leave the little scorpion emoji down below and say, I've grown through burned bridges and overcoming obstacles and allowing my heart to free itself through forgiveness and through self-alignment. And if it resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So with that, I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message today. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.